The family of Caden Cristiano has identified him as the 18-year-old killed in Monday's crash into a tire store in Grand Chute. The investigation into the crash now wrapping up. Sam Goodman has the latest in this First Alert update.
Caden Cristiano from Parrish, Florida, was about to start his senior year of high school. His family said he was traveling to northeastern Wisconsin to visit his grandparents, an annual summer tradition.
He was just one of those kids, man. I mean, you couldn't get enough of them.
Cristiano's family said he was sitting in the store's lobby when a gray Chrysler minivan crashed into the building. Grand Chute police found through their investigation that the driver was attempting to park but drove forward through the building. The car hit several people.
While en route, emergency personnel were advised of multiple injuries at the location. 3 individuals were transported to local hospitals by the Grand Chute Fire Department.
2 others sustained non-life-threatening injuries, but Cristiano was pronounced deceased. Now, family is arranging to bring him back to Florida.
I'm going to see him one last time, but yeah, in the meantime, we're going to have some time with his grandmother and start with arrangements and everything else, and we'll go from there.
The case has now been turned over to the Outagamie County District Attorney for review. A decision on possible charges could come as early as next Monday or Tuesday, while State Patrol continues to work on crash reconstruction. In Green Bay, Sam Goodman, Action 2 News.